It all started on a rainy Tuesday evening. My daughter, Emma, came into the living room, her face pale and eyes wide with a mixture of fear and uncertainty. She hesitated for a moment before blurting out, "Dad, I'm 13 weeks pregnant." The room seemed to spin for a moment as I processed her words. I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm for her sake. Emma was just 17, a junior in high school with dreams of going to college, maybe studying art or literature. This news threw a wrench into all those plans. She quickly followed up with more distressing information. Her boyfriend, Jake, wanted nothing to do with the baby. In fact, he had been pressuring her to consider an abortion. I could see the conflict in her eyes. She was upset and felt abandoned. I pulled her into a hug, offering her the only thing I could at that moment: my unconditional support. "We'll figure this out," I told her softly. "You have some tough decisions ahead, but you don't have to face them alone." Later that evening, after Emma had gone to bed, I found myself deep in thought. I knew she needed to understand the reality of her situation, and sugarcoating it wouldn't help. The next morning, we had a heart-to-heart talk. I explained to her that she had two main choices. She could either raise the baby as a single mother or consider adoption. Emma seemed to think that either I or the legal system could force Jake to take responsibility. I had to explain that nobody could make someone be a father if they didn't want to be. "It's just not how it works," I told her gently. "We can't control his actions, but we can control how we respond." I reassured her that her mother and I would support her as much as we could, but I also made it clear that the majority of the responsibility would fall on her. Raising a child is a monumental task, and while we could help, it was ultimately her decision and her journey. A bit of context here. Emma's mother, Sarah, and I divorced about 12 years ago. We had managed to maintain a relatively amicable co-parenting relationship, but this situation was about to test that dynamic. When Sarah found out about my conversation with Emma, she was livid. She called me, her voice trembling with anger and disbelief. "How could you tell her she has no choice but to raise this baby alone?" she yelled. "She needs hope, not more pressure." I tried to explain my perspective. "Sarah, we don't know what Jake will do. We can't rely on him suddenly deciding to step up once the baby is born. We need to be realistic about this." Sarah had always been the more hopeful and optimistic one. She believed that once Jake saw the baby, he would come around. But from my experience, people don't change that easily. I couldn't help but feel a pang of frustration. We were both coming from a place of love for our daughter, but our approaches were vastly different. One evening, Sarah and I sat down to discuss the situation face to face. It was clear we had different ideas about what was best for Emma. Sarah was convinced that we should both step in to help raise the baby, allowing Emma to finish school and pursue her dreams. She envisioned a scenario where we co-parented our grandchild, providing a stable environment for both Emma and the baby. I, on the other hand, felt that Emma needed to understand the gravity of her situation. I believe she should seriously consider either an abortion or adoption. "Sarah," I said, trying to keep my voice steady, "I don't think a teenager is ready to raise a child. It's an enormous responsibility, and it will change her life completely." Sarah looked at me with a mixture of sadness and determination. "I know it's hard, but we can't just tell her to give up on her baby. She needs to know we're here for her, no matter what." I sighed, feeling the weight of the situation pressing down on me. "I'll support her, but I can't be the one raising another child. If you want to take on that responsibility, that's your choice. But I believe we need to approach this logically, not emotionally." Feeling the pressure of the situation, I decided to seek advice from a close friend, Mark, who had been through a similar experience with his own daughter. Over coffee, I laid out the entire story, from Emma's pregnancy to the differing opinions between Sarah and me. Mark listened patiently, nodding occasionally. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair and sighed. "It's tough, man. There's no easy answer. But from my experience, the most important thing is to make sure Emma feels supported. She needs to know you're in her corner, no matter what she decides." He paused for a moment before continuing. "You also need to have a clear, honest conversation with her about the realities of raising a child. It's not just about the immediate future. It's about the long term. And as for Jake, well, sometimes people do change when they see their baby for the first time. But you can't count on that. Mark's words resonated with me. It was clear that we needed to support Emma, but also ensure she understood the full scope of her decision. I left our meeting feeling a bit more at peace, but still aware of the challenges ahead. Sarah and I decided to have a family meeting with Emma to discuss all the options and potential outcomes. We wanted her to have all the information she needed to make an informed decision. Emma was understandably nervous, but she appreciated that we were treating her like an adult. We laid out the three main paths: raising the baby as a single mother, considering adoption, or opting for an abortion. We discussed the pros and cons of each choice, emphasizing that whatever she decided, we would support her. Emma listened intently, her eyes flickering between us as we spoke. When we finished, she took a deep breath. "I don't know what to do," she admitted, tears welling up in her eyes.
I'm scared.
Sarah reached out and took her hand. "It's okay to be scared, sweetie. This is a big decision, but whatever you choose, we'll be here for you." In the days following our family meeting, Emma did a lot of soul-searching. She spoke with a counselor at her school who helped her process her emotions and think through her options. She also talked to some of her friends, seeking their perspectives and support. One evening, she came to me and said, "Dad, I think I want to keep the baby." I could see the determination in her eyes, mixed with fear and uncertainty. "But I also want to finish school and go to college. I don't know how I can do both." I hugged her tightly. "We'll figure it out together," I promised. "It won't be easy, but we'll make it work. Your mom and I will help as much as we can." With Emma's decision made, we started preparing for the future. Sarah and I agreed to split the responsibilities of helping with the baby while ensuring Emma could continue her education. We set up a plan that included daycare, financial support, and a schedule that allowed Emma to balance school and motherhood. We also reached out to Jake one more time, hoping he might reconsider his stance. While he was still resistant, he agreed to meet with a counselor to discuss his feelings and responsibilities. It was a small step, but a step nonetheless. We knew we couldn't do this alone, so we turned to our community for support. Emma's school was incredibly understanding and offered flexible scheduling and resources to help her stay on track. Friends and family rallied around us, offering everything from babysitting to emotional support. Emma also found solace in a local support group for young mothers. Meeting others who were in similar situations helped her feel less alone and more empowered. She started to believe in her ability to be a good mother while also pursuing her dreams. As the months passed, Emma's belly grew, and so did her resolve. The day finally arrived, and she gave birth to a beautiful baby girl, whom she named Lily. Holding Lily in her arms for the first time, I saw a mix of love, fear, and determination in Emma's eyes. Jake, despite his initial reluctance, showed up at the hospital. Seeing Lily for the first time, something seemed to shift in him. He wasn't ready to fully commit to fatherhood, but he promised to be there in whatever capacity he could manage. The first few months were incredibly challenging, but also filled with love and joy. Emma juggled late-night feedings and schoolwork, and Sarah and I took turns helping with Lily. It wasn't easy, but together, we managed. Emma graduated high school and decided to take a gap year before starting college to focus on Lily. She was determined to create a better life for her daughter and herself. With the support of her family and community, she felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Looking back, it's clear that this journey was not what any of us had planned. But through the ups and downs, we grew stronger as a family. Emma learned the true meaning of resilience and responsibility, and I discovered new depths of love and support. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes we're faced with decisions that seem impossible. But with love, support, and determination, we can navigate even the toughest challenges. Emma's story is a testament to that, and it's one I'll always be proud to share. We'd love to hear your thoughts, reactions, and ideas on today's story. Did any particular character steal your heart? Were you on the edge of your seat because of a surprising plot twist? Or perhaps you have your own theories about what might happen next. Whatever it is, don't hesitate to share. Please remember to keep all comments respectful and constructive. We value diverse opinions and perspectives. Spoiler alert: if discussing specific plot points or twists, please use spoiler tags to avoid spoiling the story for others. Positive vibes only. Let's spread positivity and encouragement within our community. Kind words can make all the difference. Conclusion: your voices matter, and we can't wait to hear what you have to say. Let's continue this journey together as we celebrate the magic of storytelling. Thank you for being a part of our community.